Hello, Sahar. Hello, Moral John. Good to see you guys here. Hi, Zore. Hello, everyone. Good to have you here. Hello, Sumi. Hi, love. It's great to have everyone here. We've been having really good lives lately, haven't we? The live with Jeff was really good. Also, our EFT was amazing. I'm so glad that you guys loved it. We're gonna have another great live today. So, let me know where you guys are joining me from and write comments. If time allows us, we're gonna be having one or two people to come and join our live so we can chat and talk. Okay, let me turn off my notification, and I always forget that. Hello, Azam. Hi, Jale. Hello, everyone. Yes, I seen some new faces here. Yes. Zihrasni, Adi, welcome, welcome, welcome. Murtazal, welcome. Lahij, it's great to have everybody here. Hi, Abrisham. What a beautiful name, Abrisham. Hello, Arash, welcome. Mina, welcome. Yes. Okay. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yeah, so maybe for some of you guys who have just recently joined my Instagram, you don't know about my YouTube channel, so it's Sudi Burnett English. I did a 2-month webinar on awakening and higher consciousness. So it would be very helpful and beneficial to you guys if you watch those lives. I believe it would really help you to know and recognize yourself. It's about self-realization. Who am I? Arash, can you give a reason for the existence of God? Okay, Arash, before I give you a reason for existence of God, I think I'll bring that question towards myself. What's the meaning of my existence as a soul? I don't know how you're looking at God. What's your, how do you view God? How do you view God? For me, I would say, I might not call it God. I might call it creator. I might call it universal energy, right? So it's the whole creation. All this creation, we can call it God, or you can give it any name as you wish. But are we questioning the creation, the whole creation, the existence of creation with all the planet and, you know, skies and stars and animals and plants and nature? Are we questioning? Oh, my guest is here. Let me join. Question. Maybe we can respond to your question, love, when my guest. Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
I am great.
Very
How
nice
are
to see you.
Huh?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Beautiful. Where are you located at?
I'm currently in Manhattan.
Okay.
In New York City, yeah.
Yes, and how's the weather there?
It's actually really lovely today. Yesterday was the first warm day. It's like 60 degrees yesterday. So it's really nice.
Beautiful. I was just chatting with my niece. She lives in New Jersey. And I said, I might come and visit you because I live in LA. You know, we get so spoiled by the warm weather in LA.
Lovely.
And I said, I might come and visit you. What's the temperature? And she was like, it's kind of, I was like, oh, maybe I just can't.
Wait for another month.
For another month. Okay,
Yeah.
Beautiful. First of all, I'm really glad to have you join us on this live. And without any further ado, we want to get into knowing you. And then we get into our topics of the day.
Great. Well, thank you. It's always lovely to be able to share some of my ideas with new audiences. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
So what would you like? Would you like me to tell you a little bit about what I do? Is that what you'd like?
Yes. What do you do and how did you, I'm usually interested to know, for instance, I'm a life coach, so I always want to know what lead people or their journey. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
You see, as an astrologer, I actually think we all have a soul contract. And can we tap into our soul contract? Can we really realize what we're here on this planet to do? We've lived in a world where we've been in the matrix. We've been, all of us, enslaved to work, you know, to earn a living, but not so much fulfilling our dreams, not really doing what we're meant to be doing. And this time is of great import. There's a great awakening happening. And this is the opportunity for all of us on this planet to be able to tap into that sense of self-sovereignty and ability to, you know, heal ourselves and journey into the light. So for me, I don't think there was one thing that happened. It's just been a constant journey of, you know, exploration, meeting amazing human beings on the road and learning from them. I'm always evolving. I don't think I ever sit still. And some of the greatest people around me, you know, have come into my lives and educated me and taught me. And that's where I am today. I'm the sum total of all the experiences I've had.
Beautiful. Yes. we had a comment. Can you please talk about the matrix? Okay, we're going to see if we can get into it. So what led you into astrology? I mean, I studied astrology. I was always fascinated since I was a little kid. And you know, my background is Persian, so I always had people around me who was reading like cards and talking about astrology. My mother was really big into astrology and all that stuff. But what led you into it?
Actually, it was a very interesting experience. There was a lady I knew in New York City, not that well, but she was a mystic. And I'd done some yoga with her. And she had a dream one night, and she texted me the following morning, said, I have to introduce you to this man who you just have to meet. And he came to my art studio in Chelsea. This must have been like 7 years ago. And he was an astrologer called Monty. And he basically spent the next 2 years teaching me astrology. And I learned it very quickly. And then after 2 years, he suddenly said to me, right, off you go. I never need to see you again. I can't teach you anymore. Off you go into the sunset. And that was it. That was the beginning. And he helped me download, access this information, which, to be honest with you, this information is from the Akashic. It's up there, stored in the cosmos, and we all have access to it. Some of us have, because of our soul contracts, more accessibility to it. Doesn't mean that we're better at it. It's just that's what we're here to do in this life. And astrology as a language is somewhat easy for me. It's a very natural language, much like other people speak Spanish, and I don't speak a word of Spanish. I speak Italian pretty badly, and I love it, or French. But, you know, astrology as a language is really my language. And so when I read people, I've just read for 3 people this morning. It's just such a beautiful way to to help discover their soul contract, so they have a sense of their greater purpose, so they're less the victim, they're more self-sovereign, and they become more content and flourish. They can flourish.
Yeah, exactly. I remember many years ago, because I was always also fascinated with spirituality. So I got in a little bit to Sufism. You know, my background is for Persian, and Sufism is huge for Persians. And then Buddhism, and I was just searching here and there. And then I took Kabbalah. Are you familiar with Kabbalah?
Very much so, yes.
Yeah, so I was taking classes on Kabbalah, and then one night I got guided to go and pick up this astrology book. And as I was looking at it, this guy came next to me and he said very quietly, he's like, are you interested in astrology? I said, yes. He says, oh, I know this great astrologer. So he gave me his number and I called up the guy. He lives in Malibu. He was kind of close to where I live. And I called him up and he said, do you know the time of your birth? And I said, no, I don't know. And he says, no worries, because my neighbor is this British lady, Lopez, and she's a psychic medium. So I can ask her up. And I was like, okay, great. So he got back with me and he says, Lopez said you were born 3:30 p.m. And then I called up my sister, my older sister, and I'm like, do you remember when I was born? And she says, well, I came home, it was after school. It must be between 3 to 4 p.m. How accurate could she be? So then I went to this astrologist, and then I was amazed because he said, are you working with plants and that stuff? And that time I was big with supplementation, and I was actually studying herbology and all this. And I said, yes, I am. And he says, and do you know that you're a shaman? And I had no clue what shaman is. I'm like, what's that? And then he told me a little bit about shamanism, and I was stunned when he read my chart, like 3 hours. And then I went to Lopez, and she said to me, well, there's this older lady here. She's coming with flowers. Do you know who that is? I said, could be my mom, because my mom passed away. And then she says, I'm a medium. And I had no clue what medium was at that time. And then she explained to me. So that opened up another. Yeah. So tell me, yes.
No, it's really interesting, because in some ways what you're discussing is astrology is just one part of it, but there's psychic understanding. I mean, one of my teachers for the last 4 years has been Frank Andrews. Now, he was John Lennon's psychic, and he was the one who turned to John and says, listen, stay inside, don't come out of the Dakota that day. And of course, John went outside, and the rest is history. And he's taught me tarot. And I teach tarot and astrology online now, like twice a week, to various people. But I think the thing is, there are languages. And when one is reading, I find in particular, when I'm reading astrology or tarot, I can read the information, and then suddenly you get a psychic download. You get some feeling information that comes in. Some people may say you tap into an Akashic record, and then you can pull some knowledge out which helps the patient. And that's when it gets very exciting. You know, there's remote viewing, there's all these different ways in. So the question really becomes, is this all exists, is are we using this for light purposes? Are we using these informations as tools to help one another, to help us ascend? Or are we using them for control perspectives within the 3D matrix? One of your listeners wanted me to discuss more the matrix. It's very simple. We've all seen the movie The Matrix. The Matrix is the dense third dimension. Yeah. So the third dimension is the polarity, the sense of separation. And political structures always want to keep us in that polarity. Why? Because when you as a woman and me as a man are separate, when Johnny who's black and Ben who's white and Stephen who's straight and Jerry who's gay, we keep all these divisions, that's how we can be controlled. But when we understand astrology, tarot, all these different psychic ways of accessing the cosmic language, which is much bigger than separation because it's about unity consciousness. That's when we journey into what people call the ascension process. And many people in the spiritual community talk about 5D. That's all fine. Everyone has different language. It's all about intention. So I'm always, as a teacher and as a student, of bringing people back to what is our intention when we journey into this. Are we genuinely trying to use light to help? So read my body language now, and I read yours, your eyes. The body doesn't lie. You know, we're doing something alchemical here now. That's exciting, as opposed to, you know, cloak and dagger, you know, low vibration Scorpio. I'm going to come in behind and say one thing, put on a nice bright face, and then do something very different. That's a very different energy. So when we begin to see that difference of energy, then we can see we can witness the matrix. As a result, it can't control us. We're self-sovereign. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Now, here's my question for you. Like, in order for you to access this information, do you do something in particular? Like for me, I wake up every day around 4 a.m. and then I go out to my yard in the nature and connect to that silence. We can call it meditation or whatever. Do you have a routine? Do you think it's even needed?
So I think what it is people have different archetypal energy systems. And I mean, for me, I definitely need some routine, but I'm also very fire, water, and air. So I have a lot of creativity. So I need to earth myself in a specific way. So I have a beautiful healing retreat in the Catskills. People come to me for treatments there, and I have a wonderful amount of acres. It's very natural, it's very grounded, and that's not only where I restore myself, but that's really where my true energy comes from. Why? Because when we come to this planet, not other planets, but this planet, we're meant to be in our biology. We're meant to be using our DNA in the alchemical sense of Kundalini to tap in. Some people may use plant medicine, some people may just use breath work, it doesn't matter. But there's a sense of we can alchemicize our system in order to ascend. Now, being in nature is a fundamental part of that. When we're not in nature, like in the big cities, we have to be very diligent to create nature and to get close to it. So parks, being close to trees, maybe also spending time in water. Water is nature too. It's one of the 4 elements. Yeah. And we have to be very clever in how we eat, eating organic, you know, and a lot of human beings aren't aware that they've really been sort of taken away from their power center by eating badly, thinking badly, by being away from nature. So I'm always trying to bring people back to the organism of planet Earth, as opposed to maybe what one might call the transhuman, artificial, intelligent aspect, which is what the battle is about today, if we're honest. It's a battle between humanism and transhumanism.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, well, now I'm really thinking that I should come to New Jersey and come to Manhattan to visit you. That's really intriguing.
Well, I'm meant to be coming out to Los Angeles at some point. I'd love to. I've got some special people I need to visit out there. So I'm sure we can, one way or the other, you know, connect in person.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be beautiful. So what's your sign?
My sun sign is Aries, but my ascendant is Leo.
Moon?
My moon is in Aries.
Oh, okay. All right. That's very interesting. Like you said, we're working with different elements, and it's so important to bring all of those into balance and see who really needs what. I'm a Taurus. So my sun is in Taurus, my moon is in Scorpio, and my rising sign is in Libra.
So Venus is very dominant then in your chart, because Venus rules both Libra and Taurus. So that Venusian quality, I mean, it's interesting. Look at the way, you know, you really are beautifully made up. I mean, there's that Venus quality to you, which, you know, one has to celebrate. You see, when we understand the archetypes, it's powerful, because I can see now, having heard a little bit about your chart and looking at you, that Venus is a powerful part of your nature. where, you know, say for me, my Venus is important because it's important for all of us, but it's probably not the most powerful. For me, Jupiter and the Sun are the two most powerful parts of my chart. And so we have an honor system. So I say, well, one has to honor the fact that Venus plays an important part for you. You know, I imagine, for example, fashion, like my daughter has Venus in Pisces. I mean, she's 11, she loves fashion. And, you know, where for me, I'm not particularly interested in it. For me, it's too ephemeral. But for her, her spirit can come through it. She can express herself through it. So by understanding archetypal astrology, it makes you a better person because you can understand someone different from yourself. That's useful.
Mm-hmm. So are you working with Western astrology or Vedic astrology?
I don't work with Vedic astrology, so I am an ancient astrologer. I work with ancient timing techniques. Hellenistic astrology is what you would call it, but the Western tradition comes out of that. So there is some merging in the ancient. I mean, for example, I only work really with the 7 visible planets as far as rulership. Of course, I work with Uranus out to Pluto and even Eris and Sedna, but they are more extras. The ancient astrologers really work with the 2 luminaries and Mercury through Saturn. And of course, Saturn would rule Aquarius and Capricorn, where in modern astrology, you know, people say Uranus rules Aquarius. It's not that that's wrong, it's just a very small part of it. And I think the ancient astrology is the most powerful and successful way for me to help other people. And it certainly helped myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the deal. So what part, like for instance, when you look at Western astrology, it's more emphasis on your sun. They still say look into your moon and also to your ascendant sign or rising sign. But Vedic, your rising sign is much more important. So
I don't subscribe to that. I mean, in the sense of Vedic is fine, but the Western astrology, I don't subscribe that it's just about the sun. The sun is the yang masculine in the sense of it's the active, conscious sense of self, where the moon is the reflective, intuitive, psychic, bodily, yin part of the self. Both those are important. We mustn't live in polarity. It's about sort of bringing the yin and the yang together and integrating it. That's the alchemy. And of course, the ascendant is really important because that's the eastern horizon, and that's a powerful angle. I mean, in ancient astrology, you have the angles. So from where you're looking, because it's back to front, that's the eastern horizon. The sun comes up and goes to the western horizon. So this is who you are in the body. This is your relationships, your lover, your partner. Up here is the midheaven, which is all about your career and how you're publicly seen, of course, because the sun is at its brightest here. And then down at the base is the most private, because that's the 4th house, and that's family. You know, so I think it's more about the angles, to be honest with you, rather than just the sun is being solely important. The sun is important, but you miss a huge amount of information if you just focus on the sun sign.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's something else. Like, for instance, for if you're looking at Vedic astrology versus Western, even your housing changes a little bit, right? So, like I said, according to Western astrology, my rising sign is in Libra, but according to Vedic is in
it will be
Virgo.
So this is to do with what Plato called the great year, was the shift in the there's a cycle of basically about 26,000 years, which is known as the Great Year, which is to do with the way the equinoxes fall. And every 72 years, the planet shifts 1 degree. So at the moment, we're looking at 22-degree difference between what's called tropical zodiac and sidereal zodiac. And it's a bit complex, but the sidereal zodiac is what the Vedic astrologers use. It's based on fixed stars. So, you know, it's based off the North Star. And so, I mean, for example, I'm 5 degrees Aries, 25th of March. That means I'm a Pisces in Vedic astrology. But for me, that works because I carry a strong Aries quality. Look at the way I'm presenting, but it's all about spirituality. And because I've got a Jupiter in Pisces and a Mercury in Pisces, it's kind of, it works for me. I mean, Vedic astrology tells truth. I mean, at the end of the day, there are many ways to tell a truth when it comes to helping an individual. I'm not an expert on Vedic astrology. You'd need to ask someone specifically who does that. What I can tell you is how powerful Western or Hellenistic ancient astrology is. It's based on Middle East and medieval. It's based on so many different traditions which go back thousands of years. And it's a beautiful way of helping people find and navigate their soul contract.
Yes, yes. So here's the deal, like for me, I see a lot more of Virgo personality or characteristic that I see from Libra. Like my profession was in health, you know, I was upset, very OCD, and I was very detail oriented. So I see a lot more of Virgo in me from one side than I see, yeah.
Well, if I can describe you, having met you now for the first time just digitally.
Oh, that would be great.
I
Yes.
would say you're a very healthy mixture, and I'll tell you why. When your assistant, very Virgo, reached out to me in good time, very Virgo, to plan, very Virgo, this conversation today, very Virgo. That's all very Virgo, the organization. I salute it. But when I engage with you now, you definitely have more of a Venusian quality than a mercurial one. So Mercury rules Virgo, yes, but Venus rules Libra. And I haven't, you know, looked at your whole chart, because that's where the real beauty of it is, because it's the nuance, you know, it's the integration of all the planets and how they come together. But at the end of the day, you carry a strong Venusian quality, and you have a mercurial quality in Virgo as far as organization, and you can delegate and you trust people to help grow your business. But look at you, I have, you know, your hair, Venus is important for you. So I would say you're a healthy blend of the two.
Well, thank you so much. So tell us, like, how busy are you? Like, how many charts do you have to do a day, and how do you manage it?
I mean, it really varies, because I have a healing space here in the city as well, a healing studio as well as upstate. And I work with, if you see, I work with a lot of crystals and Tibetan bowls and stuff like that.
Yes.
You see.
Beautiful.
So I mean, like some days I may have, you know, 3 or 4 patients, clients. Other days I may just have 1 or 2. It really does depend. Every day is different. And sometimes I read for I do an astrology reading first, and then they come for a healing, which is another hour afterwards. So that can be, you know, take up much more time depending on who I'm working with.
And do you run, how are your courses? Like, if we want to learn from you the astrology.
So at the moment, I'm teaching a really interesting course online. I'm doing 2 of them. One is a new one is starting on Wednesday, March 17th. And it's about the correspondence between astrology and tarot. So I will teach like the major arcana, you know, from the full card right through to the world, and looking at all the archetypes and how they correspond to the planets and the zodiac signs. And then we'll look at the court cards, and then the minor cards, like the wands, the coins, you know, pentacles, and all the 4 suits.
And how long is that course?
Well, I kind of keep it a little open. So, for example, the last one was meant to be just 6 weeks, once a week, but actually we ended up, the people liked it so much that we ended up going for 8 or 9 weeks, because they wanted to integrate it more. And I like having that ability just to, you know, the students become friends, and it becomes a community. Like, I'm on Telegram. I mean, I post much more on Telegram now than here, because there's much more freedom on Telegram, and there's total censorship on this channel. So I post very little on Instagram today. I mean, this is the only social media I use now apart from Telegram. I mean, I'm on Telegram more now, because you can be more free to share, and you can create communities there. And it's just a very nice way to be able to share and build with people through trust.
And what's the second course?
I'm actually doing 2 different courses. One is on tarot and astrology, and the other one is just on astrology. But that's not starting until April.
Until April.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We're also on Telegram, because I didn't know. I was a little surprised, because in the Middle East, in Iran and that stuff, we use a lot more Telegram. And not everyone in US and European are not very familiar with telegrams.
Well,
and now that you said that, I was like, whoa.
well, let me explain. I mean, with all these new things, people have to get used to them. I mean, you know, 10 years ago, not many people were very familiar with Instagram. But if I can just be clear, you know, in the last year in particular, but really in the last 3 or 4 years, there has been a push towards control and censorship. We all know that. We may not want to speak truth because we get frightened, and if we live in fear, we can't speak truth. I understand that. But the zombies can't take us off the cliff. And we need to, you know, this is the Aries in me, we need to do truth to power. And we need to speak truth as a civilization. Otherwise, our children have no future, nor do we. So Telegram is just one of many platforms that has emerged in the last year, and in particular has skyrocketed in the last 6 months. And one can be freer to share truths with the world and with your platform. So, you know, I think that is going to be one of the futures. We shall see.
Yeah, we've been using Telegram for many years now, George, because all of my files and everything is going through, and also because in Iran is very, you know, the government is watching everything, so they have a lot of issues with Instagram and other stuff. But Telegram is very easily accessible, and sometimes it's sometimes the other way around. But we've been using Telegram for many years, and I'm glad that it's coming up and everybody start knowing, because you can send huge files without any issues, and it's much it's really helpful. Yes. So tell us, George, would you like to tell us some more about astrology or tarot, or would you prefer that we get someone to come to join us and they can ask you questions?
I would love to have people ask questions. It's more fun. But I'll just say this. I'll just say before we do that, we are experiencing a seismic shift in our collective. And of course, when we experience it collectively, we experience it individually. And COVID, or the pandemic, corona, however you want to call it, and of course, a lot of the world call it a scamdemic or a plandemic, and a lot of people call it a pandemic. But, you know, call me old-fashioned, having studied history. A true pandemic is when a third of the population dies of something like the bubonic plague, or you know, a serious illness. And whatever people's political views, we have to realize it's been grossly exaggerated. Okay, again, truth to power. And you know, it's been exaggerated. And then the question is why? Well, we're at the end of a long cycle, and Pluto is in Capricorn. Pluto is in Capricorn until 2024. The last time Pluto was in Capricorn was the French Revolution and the American War of Independence from the tyranny of Great Britain. And here we are again, America basically in its second revolution. Now, to most people, it's so unclear. They're on the ground, they're fearful, they're wearing 3 or 4 masks, they can't literally and physically and metaphorically breathe properly. They are so scared. How can they think straight? The poor people, they can't. But at the end of the day, the ones who seek to be awake can take a deep breath in and go, okay, we're at a big time. So what's happening? The power structures are being dismantled, whether they like it or not. They knew it was coming, and people talk in terms of prophecy. But all cycles come to an end. We've all studied the Ming Dynasty or the Queen of England, whatever. All monarchies, kingships, queens, it comes to natural end at some point. We're at one of those junctures now where we're birthing a new civilization. So the question becomes is, what do we want it to be? It's obviously going to have quite a lot of technology in it, but does that mean it has to be transhuman and we have to become the technology? I would argue no. We, through the spirit, through the breath work, through a belief and an understanding of the beauty of our biology, we have the divinity within ourselves. The word divine comes from the Sanskrit divya. It means self-illumination. The Christ spoke about that, as you know, so did the Buddha. Many mystics speak about that. And we have to take power back into our own hands and have real leadership to help steer a civilization towards authentic truth. There is systemic corruption in the system. It doesn't matter which party. And it's been very clear in the last 3 or 4 months to see that the corruption has been across the board, across the board. And we're coming to the end of that cycle. And the more people wake up, the more exciting it is, because then the timeline can shift more speedily and with less negative consequences.
Yes, it's amazing when I see like so many people are waking up to the truth. It's beautiful. One more questions before we open up to a join live. What do you think about the age of Aquarius? Do you think we have started it, or what's your thought on that?
So these ages, and you know, Plato spoke a little bit about this, but these ages take time to get into, because each age is about 2,200 years. So if you want to take the 20th century, there was definitely a shift in the 20th century, trying to get out of this Piscean age and into something more technological and more cosmic. And of course, there were fits and starts, bumps on the road. And I would say we're very much entering into the age of Aquarius, but it's not going to just happen overnight. And I think it's going to be a process. Sorry, I lost you there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's, so we're definitely in the age of Aquarius, but it just takes time to usher it in. I mean, concepts, for example, like communism, the concept of, or utopianism, I should say, is a very Aquarian concept. The problem is, when it's put into political practice in the third dimension, it's deeply evil, because it seeks to control us and separate us in the extent that none of us have an individual soul. It doesn't believe in God. It doesn't believe in the sovereignty of the individual. What we have to do is take the Aquarian age to a high vibration. What does that mean? It means that you and our listeners are all self-sovereign people, but we work together collectively, much like I explained to you through the archetypes earlier. You honor the Scorpio moon that is you. We honor let's take the Virgo Libra, that, and let's even take the Venusian, the Venus part of you. And let's say, for example, I have a stronger, let's say I have a strong Mars. So Mars and Venus can battle it out through cruelty, chaos, and you think of relationships between men and women. If you take it to the higher level of consciousness, the Mars needs that receptive container to put that action into. And you as Venus need that penetrative, desirous, creative, in order to take it and alchemize it to create something beautiful. In this case, potentially a child. I'm using the archetype of the male-female to get the message across. On its own is chaos. On its own is cruelty. On its own is a low vibration frequency. When you put them together, this is what alchemy is. You then create life itself. And that's how we ascend, is by accepting that someone has a strong Saturn. They are going to be more scared. They are going to be more fearful. You know, they're going to be wearing more two masks until they're educated better to know that they don't need to be so fearful. At the same time, someone with a strong Uranus, and of course, you know, the orange man has a very strong Uranus, and people don't like that, you know. But a very strong Uranus is going to be very much a freedom fighter, an individual thinker, and going to smash down the barriers and the structures of existing civilization. And so, you know, and look at the mythology. Saturn castrates Daddy. Saturn castrates Uranus. You can't make this shit up. It's real.
Yeah. So, George, what do you think about like Uranus being in Taurus for so many years? I mean, for me being a Taurian, I'm seeing like everything has changed so rapidly. My phone, the place I'm living, my laptop, my people who are working. What do you think about that?
Well, the last time Uranus was in Taurus was the 1930s, and the great in America. It was fascinating because it was when they made fast foods. They totally reinvented food. And what we're going to see today, I think, is a split. We're going to see the darker entities push for Monsanto and all the genetically modified foods, which are going to basically fill people with crap and control them. That's one side of Uranus in Taurus. Uranus, innovation in food, Taurus. The high vibration of it is real creative thinking about how we can reconnect with the land, Taurus. How we can reconnect to our senses, our sensuality. Taurus, very Venusian, okay?
Yeah.
And be highly original and creative, Uranian, Uranus, in how we feed ourselves and feed a population going forward. Like, for example, there are city blocks here, 50 feet tall. We could build terraces of food going up, 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 up. I think it's called, I can't remember the name of it. One of our listeners will know. It's quite like an urban green planning where you can grow vast amounts of food in all these tower blocks. You know, we can be really creative how we live, and we do need to live off 80% plants. And, you know, when we live off fruits and plants, I mean, I still eat meat. And my blood group, I need it. I have a lot of energy, but a lot of my friends are vegans. That's great. Again, back to the archetypes. You know, what's right for Sally isn't right for Johnny. You know, and let's honor that. Let's not fight over it. The third dimension likes to control everyone. The fifth dimension is about an acceptance of, if your intention is pure and good towards the light, then so be it. And what you need, I honor that. And so, you know, I think that's the world we're moving into. But the Uranus and Taurus is that innovative way of how do we feed ourselves. Greenhouses, you know, on old brown land that has been disused, being really reinventive with our land and reconnecting to it.
Mm-hmm. One of my audience wrote in Farsi, she's like, please do a little bit of translation. This is so much. If I want to translate, we're just going to double up the time, but we're going to work on that. I got to do that, George. I got to get some people, because I have so many followers from all over the world. We got to get some people to translate my joint lives in Farsi. That would be fabulous. Any volunteers there? Okay. So George, shall we add some people to ask? Okay, guys, you can send us join request, whoever, but hurry up, guys, because whoever comes first, that's who we're gonna add. Yes, isn't that great that now Instagram is letting us to add 3 or 4 people at the same time?
It's really cool. I'm gonna light some Palo Santo now.
Beautiful, thank you.
And I want you all to feel the energy of this amazing Palo Santo.
Yes.
Oh, it smells so good. You see, so much in our world is about intention. When you send the right energy to an area of weakness in the body, say you have a stomach ache, you can help heal a lot of it through intention and through prayer. We've lost our ability to pray.
Yeah, Marla said I can smell it.
Good.
Yes. Yeah, I brought some back. I went to Peru. Was it 6 years? Oh my God, I'm smelling it so much that I'm feeling it in my, it's getting
this
in my
is great.
head.
I'm really happy. I love it. It makes me, I'm much happier when I'm doing this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'm smelling it. It's just been, yeah, I brought.
You see, my Venus comes out with smell. You see, I love smell. I used to live in the Middle East for 4 years, and the oud, the frankincense, the myrrh, the smell. Oh, I lived in Oman for 2 years. I loved it.
Okay, yeah. But where are you from originally?
I'm from England.
But what part? What city?
Cornwall, where the Druids come from. Tintagel.
Okay, yeah. Yes, so you guys are not quick enough to join. You're going to miss this opportunity to join our lives with George.
Oh, I can see people like Palo Santo. That's really nice. I can see a lot of people like the Palo Santo. Good.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm more into sage. I don't know, sage. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know whether you can hear this. It's beautiful. And what you do, you put it vibrates. You put it here or on the middle eye.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really calming. It really helps anchor you and calm you and align you to spirit. Should we let someone in?
Yes, I just I just add someone, George. Let's see if she can come up. She's from Sweden, so
Lovely.
let's see.
I've got Swedish blood. Tell her I've got Swedish blood.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, I just recently learned. Zore, I added you. I don't know if you were able to get it. If not, let me know. I'm going to add her again. Oh, I'm sending a request instead. There she
hello.
goes.
Hi.
Hi, Zore.
Hi.
Hello, hello. What's exactly your birth date?
1972, October 23rd. But sometimes, because it's Persian date, sometimes it's 22nd October.
Okay.
October 22nd.
Yes.
October 22nd.
Sometimes
yeah.
Sometimes 23rd, Sudi.
Okay,
know.
22nd or 23rd. Got it.
Yeah.
You're the lucky one today, Zore, aren't you?
So
Yes, I am.
what's interesting though about your birth date is it's very cuspy. So you are a Scorpio, but you are close to Libra. So
Okay.
you know, one way to read it would be you're definitely a Scorpio, but you're going to have some Libra qualities. And I would imagine your Mercury and your Venus are going to be in either Libra or Scorpio. Do you know where your Venus and Mercury are?
I know a little about Venus, but not the other.
No, but you
one.
don't know where it is. I don't think she knows where it is in
Okay.
her chart.
Okay.
Venus, you don't know Venus is where. No, I don't think she really has.
I don't know about my chart. I don't know about
Okay.
my chart.
So, I mean, just on the basic then, Scorpio, because we only have your sun sign to go with, you know, a Scorpio archetype is naturally intuitive, it's deep water, it's psychic, it's very powerful, and it likes to be in control of the situation. It's very strategic, and of course, on the negative, it's very manipulative. But I always want to say this about Scorpio. Some of the very best psychics and intuitives, mystics in the world are Scorpio, but also at the low vibration, it's the scorpion with the sting, and then it goes up, becomes the eagle, and at the high vibration, I think it's the phoenix rising. It's all about death and resurrection, coming out of the ashes and recreating. And it's a real relationship with death itself, and it almost can go beyond death. Very brave people, Scorpios, very brave.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Thank
she
you.
is. George, how important is the time of your birth?
It's very important, because without the time of your birth, you can't get the ascendant, you can't get the rising.
Mm-hmm. Zora, do you know about your rising? Do you know when you were born? What time?
Yeah, 12 at night, midnight. My mom said.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone is born in the middle of the night, they have the sun at the bottom of their chart. And so if they have a lot of planets in the fourth house at the bottom, it's more likely that they're going to be very private people. And family is going to be very, very important. So for someone like yourself, but I only know your sun sign, I don't know where your moon is or your ascendant, but because you were born in the middle of a night, probably family is very important, and you're quite private, especially being a Scorpio. You're quite private about your private life. You're not going to put yourself out there into public to the unknown, to people you don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have a question here, George. Do you need to know the exact birth time, or if you only know morning, midday, or night is enough?
So when I read for clients, they don't have an exact birth time. I do something called a rectification chart. So, and it's such fun. once I get to know the client, we can tell what their ascendant is. Give you an example. It's pretty obvious that I've got a Leo ascendant, okay? I'm 29 degrees Leo. If I was born at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it becomes a Virgo, and I was born at 3:57. I don't really have that Virgo quality. I wish in some ways I did. I have more of a Leo quality, although part of me, my body is quite slim, which is more Virgo. So you can, I may have a little bit of Virgo, but my essence, my essential quality is more Leo. So what you can do if you don't know the exact time, you can tease it out by saying, oh, you're 3:50, 4 o'clock, 4:15, and then the ascendant changes, especially if you're born at the beginning of a degree or the end of a degree. If you're born in the middle of a zodiac sign, you're not going to have much change in 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah. So basically, that's the next question from Firze. About 6 to 7 a.m. in the morning. So it wouldn't change. Approximately 1 hour. That doesn't really make
So
a difference.
here's the thing. It would change if you're in the middle. It would change if you're at the beginning of a zodiac sign or you're at the end of it. But if between 6 and 7 happens to be in the middle of a zodiac sign, your sun and your moon are in the middle, there'll be much change. But every case is different. I can't answer that definitively one way or the other, because it will depend on which latitude you're on planet Earth. It will also depend on which year, and there's so many factors to it. And that's why every individual soul is unique. Every birth time is unique.
Yes, of course.
Zora, do you have a question for George?
Not now, but thank you so much.
My pleasure.
George.
You're very welcome, love. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.
Guidance number 2. What is your sign? You can ask, and we can ask George about it. Yeah.
I don't know
So,
how I quit, Sudi. I don't know how I
how to
quit.
exit? Just say leave, like you would do with the Zoom or anything.
Okay.
George, are you familiar with Conscious Life Expo?
Yes.
Okay. I've been going there for the last, God knows, many years. It used to be twice, like there was one in October and then another one in February, but eventually I was getting a booth there and I had a lecture and blah, blah. I do healing stuff, right? But generally when I went there, my lecture was always about holistic approach to weight loss. That was my subject, the lecture. And then when you go there, like this really weird, odd, amazing stuff happens there. I remember one day I was there because I went every single year. And a few years back, I was there. It's a Friday afternoon because they usually do it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? As my assistant, she was fixing up the table and everything. I stood there. I was totally lost. And I thought to myself, like, what the hell am I doing here? Because when I get into a crowd, because I'm an empath, the energy of too many people, it just affects me. And it doesn't matter how much I, close to be aware and close down my area. I still get touched and affected. And especially, when you go somewhere year after year, many people know you. And then they all come and hug you. And there's those, you can't tell people, please don't hug me. Yeah. So anyhow, I was standing there and I was thinking for a second, like out of space, what am I doing here again? And then I walk like it's not me, something is just moving you around. I walked to the second table there. 2 girls are chatting there. And I said, excuse me, do you know about a shaman that does ayahuasca? And one of them, she's like, oh yeah, my ex-boyfriend is one of them. What's your number? And I'm like, 310-877-775. Yeah, one of them is my ex-boyfriend and the other one is this shaman. In a matter of like 5 minutes, one of them called me and he's like, okay, Sudi, we are doing a meditation ceremony this coming weekend and that stuff. So anyway, I went to that shaman. But what I'm saying is, when I went there, as soon as I walked in, the first thing he said to me, he says, oh, Princess walked in. And I said, what are you saying that? He said, You're a double Venus, aren't you?
Well, so what it is, if I may be honest with the tarot, it's the Empress card. It's not so much it is a princess in one sense, but it's the Empress card in the tarot, in the major arcana, which is very Venusian, and it rules, you know, Taurus and Libra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was really funny as he says this. Can you tell about 30th of July, 2:30 a.m., 1974?
Oh, yes, I can. But I mean, that's interesting because that's Leo. I mean, I'm born in 1974. That's the year of the tiger, and so that's first decan Leo. So whoever that person is, probably going to be quite bright. Thing is, it's very hard with astrology if I don't know where the moon is and I don't know where the ascendant is. And when I don't know the person, I can't interrelate with them. So I don't tend to do blind dates with astrology. I mean, I can talk about the astrology in terms of the archetype of Leo, but it's not going to be, you know, a psychic download.
Hi, Marjan. Go ahead, honey.
Hi, my name is Tian, actually.
Hi.
Huh?
My name is Tian.
Tian, okay. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So a lot of people are asking questions here about all sorts of questions. I got a lot about March the 5th. Well, that's Pisces. My daughter's a Pisces. And there's March 24th, I saw, that's Aries. That's early Aries, like me. I'm the 25th of March. So what about you? When's your birthday?
My birthday is in 25th of December, 2008.
Okay. So 25th of December is Capricorn. So with something like that energy, because it's the winter months, it's ruled by Saturn, there is definitely, on the whole, a good understanding of materialism, of grounding, of creativity through creativity through a business, and creating structures for people to survive and thrive in. I mean, people with Capricorn energy are really useful entrepreneurs. They're brilliant entrepreneurs at the high level. They really come up with brilliant ways to make things work. You know, we need like new faucets, new taps, or new designs. You know, people often get quite worried if they've got Capricorn or Aquarius because it's Saturn. Well, we need on this planet to have useful tools, and Capricorn energy builds useful tools.
Do you have any other questions for George?
Actually, there has been something happening to me, and it's quite strange. It's a feeling that has been happening to me from when I was 9. I sometimes see, it's a weird feeling whenever I want to go to sleep. It's a weird feeling that comes from me. It rushes through my mind. It's like I see things that I have never seen before, stuff like that. I disconnect from this world and go to another place, and I see like memories like from space and other parts that it just scares me sometimes. But
Okay.
after when I see those, it's a relief for me. Like I have seen something new.
So thank you very much for sharing that, honestly. Firstly, I totally empathize with what you experience. That time before awake and sleep, the crepuscular, the liminal space between the conscious and the unconscious, or the subconscious, is a very interesting time to go into past lives and to suddenly get these memories, flashbacks of different timelines. And I, for many years, see spirits when I'm looking for them above me in different frequencies before I go to sleep and when I just wake up. And I think when we start to become aware of this, this is our reality, is that we are multi-dimensional creatures, and there are multiple dimensions out there. It's just when we were heavy in the 3D matrix, we weren't able to see them, and we weren't looking for them. We weren't taught to look for them. We were told they didn't exist. People like yourself are starseeds naturally. So the world's catching up with you. You're not catching up with the world's catching up with you. Don't be frightened of them. The more you soften in and accept them, the brighter they will become, and they will help you. They're probably spirit guides around you. We haven't got time today, but I will at another time share with you my first non-terrestrial experience last June, when I was visited by a non-terrestrial being. And the only reason that was able to happen is because I allowed it to happen and I wasn't frightened. When I went into fear, which I did at the beginning of this experience, the light went away. And as I softened and my body softened, the light got grew and this being appeared. Very beautiful. And I think you know exactly what I mean.
Yes, I exactly know what you mean.
Very good.
George, can you briefly open up? You said as star seeds, so maybe some people don't know what that is.
So many of the people incarnated in the last 20 to 30 years are powerful light workers, star seeds, way showers. They've come in to help guide this planet into this next dimension. And they're very quiet at the moment. They're not known. They don't need to be. They have to be under the radar. And when the change does happen, which is going to happen, it's going to be much more visible soon. These light workers will become more visible, and they will become the healers on this planet to help usher in the new reality. Because there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot. And the trauma of the last year, I mean, let me give you this example. And this again is truth to power. This is my personal experience, and it's powerful. I personally don't know one person who has died of COVID. I know 7 people who have committed suicide. Just meditate on that, okay? There's a lot of trauma out there. So the light workers are just processing quietly at the moment now, and they're going to have a very big job in a few years' time.
Yes.
Thank you very much for helping me.
Thank you, love.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Firuze, when is your birthday? Because Firuze said, Sudi June, I know today isn't enough time to come up. Let me see if I can add her quickly.
Yes, because I'm afraid I'm going to have to go in a few minutes. I've got an appointment
Okay.
at 2 o'clock.
Yes. Let me see. I don't see her here. We got so many people here. Firuze, where are you? Let's see if I got the right one. Okay. Well, George, it was a pleasure to have you here. Hi, Lovey.
Hello, Sudi John. Hello.
Okay, go ahead.
My birthday is 19 in August 1964.
Okay, so you're right at the end of Leo, which is actually very interesting because you're 1964. You were born kind of on the star Regulus. Regulus is one of the bright stars of our galaxy, and it's known as one of the Persian royal stars. The Persians were amazing astronomers and astrologers back in the day, and the astrology that I've learned definitely borrows a lot from the ancient texts of Persians. And so when you're born around the 19th or 20th, just at the end of Leo, my ascendant is exactly on your sun. I'm 29 degrees Leo, so I've got Regulus directly on my ascendant. That's a really interesting time for bringing in light. You see, it's all about light. It's the puer, it's the eternal child. There's a deep belief in the possibilities and magic. There's a key word, magic of humanity. It's a very exciting time. And so even though you've got black hair, you're a lot of sunlight.
Thank you so much.
So much. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for joining, hon.
Thank you.
Okay, George. So tell everyone how they can know more about you, how to find you, and you said your first astrology tarot is starting on the 17th.
Yes, I've got Astrology and Tarot starting on the 17th of March. But I think the best thing is I like one-on-one relationships. Anyone who wants to be in touch, just direct message me here. And also then I can give you my details on Telegram and we can be in touch. I'm very open. I'm very accessible. This is my journey. And for me, it's about quality, and everyone here, these are real quality people, light people. So I'm here and I'm available. Just reach out to me, okay?
That would be beautiful.
My one other thing, my website is Jupiter in Pisces. So my website is jupiterinpisces.com.
Jupiter in
So
Pisces.com.
my Jupiter is in Pisces. It's the best part about my chart. So Jupiter is abundance and Pisces is spirituality. It's the idea of giving a lot of wisdom and beauty and teaching towards the spiritual traditions.
So someone said that you're an amazing piano player. Would you like to tell us about that?
I love playing the piano. Yes, I love music. Yeah.
That's great. George, can
I show you my gongs? Let me show you my gongs quickly. Hang on.
Yes. Yes, thank you.
So can you hear that?
Yes, of course, it's beautiful.
And I have my piano is arriving soon. This is my new place, but these are my paintings.
Oh my goodness.
And then this is called The Birth of Aquarius. This is a painting I did last year. It's called The Birth.
You are amazing, George. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Gorgeous. Isn't that amazing, guys? Beautiful, George.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
So, George, do you think we can have you, because it's been so amazing and I know people loved you? Is it possible that whenever you have time, we can have you back again and do another Joan Live?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Okay. Fabulous. Thank you
lots
so
of love.
much,
Thank
George.
you. Ciao. Thank you.
God bless you.
God
Thank
bless you.
you. Bye-bye. Bye. Okay, guys, write the comments. What did you think about this live? Isn't George amazing? Yes. He's such a divine being. Yes. Can you see, guys, when we're really in tune with our nature, like so many talents, we could be doing so many things. That's exactly what I was telling, when was it? Yeah, the other day when I was doing a joint live with Jeff. Remember that day with the live with Jeff? I was talking about when I'm really in tune and quieting down everything else that's around me. I just figure out who I am, and my life purpose doesn't just have to do something really special or something out there. My life purpose every day to find out little by little who I am. And in this finding out who I am is that you start to find out about your talents. That, oh, really? I can play piano. I can paint too at the same time. I could be a healer. I could be an astrologer. I could be a life coach. I could be a spiritual counselor, and I could be doing all of these things. Do you see? Because when we really do that few minutes of meditation, that few minutes of quieting down our mind, is when we really have access to all different aspects and different dimensions. And then you find out that, wow, life is not really about getting up every single day and going through our routine and having a boring life and doing the same thing over and over and over, day after day. That's not what life is about, guys. Life is about waking up every day and saying, let me look through a different lens today. Let me just see what else is out there. Let me break my habits and daily routine and see what else shows up. Life is about magic, guys. to wake up every single day and say, I'm expecting to see and experience some magic today. I'm expecting some magic. And by saying that, we're telling our subconscious mind to look at all the data and shows us something that surprises us, something that it feels like magic. It's time to get out of our daily routines and habits, not because we have to, not because we should, just because we want to. We want to live differently. We want to wake up in the morning and say, how can I play today? How can I experience joy today? How can I be childish, not in a stupid way, but just to be as pure as a child, to just see this world in a totally different lens. Yeah. So let's sit down for a second, guys. Just center ourselves and ask the question, why am I here? How did I live my life till today? Have I enjoyed every single day? Have I enjoyed the way I have been living? Did I have fun? If not, let's have a different choice. Let's make a different choice. From today on, I'm going to choose to live my life differently. I'm going to wake up every day and know that I have a choice, not to look from the lens of ego mind, but to look from the lens of heart and soul and see a different experience. Choose to live a miracle life, to see miracles. Expect to see and feel magic. This life could be magical, but we have to choose. Okay, so write a comment, guys. Don't forget to check my YouTube, Sudi Burnett English. If you want to know more about who you are, if you want to find out who you truly are as a soul, I did a 2-month webinar. It's for free and you can listen. Please subscribe, like and share my YouTube channel, Sudi Burnett English. Well, I'm doing another live tomorrow with Dr. Salehinia, Nasser Salehinia, and you don't want to miss that because that's about freedom of the mind. So it's going to be another great and amazing live. See you all tomorrow, and please write comments, share, like. Love and blessing. See you all tomorrow.